Welcome back to Hina Bear Farm. Wanted to do a little spring update video, just kind of show you guys what we've been working on. Thought we would start here with the first agroforestry style row that we put in. The bananas are doing really well. Pigeon pea is doing great. The sun hemp is doing great. So we've got a lot of support plants in there. The jack beans kind of in there. There's some kalo or taro plants down there and some other native Hawaiian plants in there. And we had recently expanded this about, 50 feet. So we put in 3 more of the banana keiki. These are namwa, my personal favorite. And not just for the flavor, but they're so easy to grow here. They're prolific fruit producers, prolific producers of keiki or pups. They are super easy going, don't have any kind of pests or fungal issues. They just really thrive here. These sticks in the middle mark the future mango trees. If you haven't seen previous videos about this row, it's eventually going to be banana mango, banana mango, banana mango, all the way down for about 300 feet, I believe. And hopefully we'll be getting ready to graft those mangoes soon so that they'll be ready to go in maybe in the fall. So you can see what we're dealing with here. This is kind of the end of where we've gotten to. These huge piles of brush from trees that we cut down. That's all getting turned into biochar. And then once we clear that, we got to deal with the weeds and things. And then we come in, we dig out a trench, bury some wood under there, get a little hugelkultur action, and put this wood on the top as a little bit of a border because we're on a slope here. It'll just kind of keep material from sliding down. And we'll get these irrigation lines on this side soon. While we're here, may as well have a quick look at the garden. So springtime is definitely not as big of a deal here as it is, all over the continental US and in other places. But it's still an important transition time for farming and gardening. This is just our little house kitchen garden where we've got some carrots going down this row, some broccoli is on the next row, and then these upper 3 rows are all mustard greens right now, little seeds coming up that are just going to be meant to be turned under so that we can then grow some okra, hopefully without getting root knot nematode as an issue. That's been an issue in the past, so we're going to see if the mustards will keep them away. It's something I have heard, so we're going to try it out. We'll let you know how it works. So some other cool stuff going on in the garden. Go down here and take a closer look. Here in this row we've got more kalo or taro. We recently participated in a community event to harvest a bunch of kalo, and as part of the reward for helping, you got to take home huli, which are like the little slips that get planted. And so we can see our first leaves coming out of the huli here. And we got 4 different varieties, which is pretty cool. It's a little hard so far to see the difference, but once they really get growing, you'll be able to see. Here you can definitely tell this is a really dark, almost black stem variety. You can see the green leaf coming out of there. Pretty cool. So we'll see how those do. The nasturtium is basically just naturalized at this point, which is totally fine. We're happy with that. Nice flower. It is edible. I eat it every once in a while. I'm not a huge fan of the flavor, but this row we've got little cassavas. So there's like purple, and then this is I know the root is like a white cassava. Next line down is going to be all turmeric, and that's got some jack bean up in the middle there, just to get a little bit of shade. This is that whole row of cassava. This eventually is going to be our roselle, our sorrel. Once we get rid of everything else that's in there, including the cassava that's left, we still need to harvest. This is all white pineapple. should be ready mid-summer. They recently come in, re-cardboarded a lot of this, keep the weeds out. And then this is our asparagus bed, which you can see got new shoots coming up. So this has been a little bit of an interesting trial. Ordinarily, I would say we'd be ready to harvest this year, but I'm just not sure based on like what I'm seeing come up. I'd like to see a little bit more robust growth. For example, like this was the first shoot that came up on this one, which looked really good, but then the next one is kind of like really spindly, and so I definitely don't want to harvest that. And I'm just not seeing like tons and tons of shoots coming up that are good size that make me feel like, yeah, it's okay to harvest. So I don't know, may lay off another year and just kind of keep fertilizing. I want to do a new bed of asparagus in a different spot and just supercharge the soil a little bit better than I did here. And also, this is grown on a mound, and I've since figured out that I'd rather have them growing in a trench just because of the way the roots grow. This is kind of hard because the roots sort of want to reach down here and they end up sort of poking out a lot. And I think it'd just be better to have them in a trench. This upper zone where the nasturtium and the weeds are is going to be where we move our white pineapples to. So this will probably be the last main year for this row, even though we've got some in here that'll go for another season. But we'll harvest all the slips off of these guys and then start a new section up there. So, got a lot going on in the garden. We've got our cherry tomatoes going as seedlings. We got some eggplant going. Let's take a look at this broccoli. I don't see any heads coming yet, but you gotta kind of beat the clock here because, I mean, we're already pushing 80 about every day with strong tropical sun. So, you gotta kind of beat the clock, get the broccoli to head up before it just bolts and goes to seed. This, if you're wondering, is Sesbania sesben, and this is an experiment we're doing. One is to add a little dappled shade, and so that's really helping the broccoli right now. It's a nitrogen fixer too, so it should be technically helping the soil. But also, I'm going to try a little bit of like a living trellis with the tomatoes, and so these lower branches, I will take a lot of them out and then just fix the cherry tomatoes up there, and we'll see how that goes. So, we'll get you some updates later on that. All right, we're out here alongside the food forest, or really in the middle of it, in the clearing. Thought we'd get a shot of Polo, the world's luckiest dog, playing fetch. I don't know if he has any idea how spoiled he is. Doesn't get much better than that. So lots of projects going on in the food forest. So one of the things for sure is still covering up more areas of grass. You can see a few things poking out. We got some cassava, and then that's an ice cream bean there. So we're constantly trying to reduce the guinea grass coverage in our zone 2 area, replace that with the ground cover of perennial peanut. Just up the hill here, we've got something exciting going on I've been talking about for a while if you've been following my videos. This is a trench that we are digging to put in some irrigation support. And so this is basically just going to be a 1-inch poly pipeline, flexible obviously, as it runs along the curvy path here. And it's going to have little stations with spigots. So I'll kind of show you one of those. So I've just got like sticks in the ground marking those. We've got 6 of them in total out here. They're spread, I don't know, about maybe 50 to 75 feet apart. And so what we'll be able to do is hook up a variety of different kind of watering options to these spigots. And one of the things I'm most looking forward to is just hooking up like an overhead sprinkler, because in this zone 2 area, for example, you can see just over here, we've got more and more of these spots that have this ground cover of pigeon pea. I'm sorry, I always do that. A perennial peanut that we really just want to water all of that in the summer when it gets really hot and dry. So we like to use overhead sprinkler for that. That's another reason why we're trying to get rid of a lot of the skinny grass. I don't want to be watering that and then having to just mow and mow and mow. So that's going to run the length of the food forest. We will be continuing to work on that over the next few weeks. We've also excitedly been getting some help on the farm. Got a couple people helping out a few hours every month. So this is one of the things they've been helping me with, save my back a little bit, because we don't have a machine for stuff like this. So this is all hand dug. Takes a long time and takes a toll. But in the meantime, lots of other cool stuff going on. Like I mentioned when we were looking at the garden, spring is maybe not as much of a big deal as it is in some places, but we see a lot of growth. Like here's a black sapote. It's just exploding with new happy green growth. That's really fun to see. Kind of gives you that spring feeling. Try to get close in here. You can see some little flower buds coming. This one has not fruited yet before, so we'll see, maybe it does this year. We've got a lot of things that are flowering and fruiting, kind of make you think of that springtime thing, even though it sort of happens all year round here. And I've shown this in previous years, but I feel like it gets more extreme every year. So here we are under a Rollinia tree, and spring is a really important time for us to pile up biomass underneath our fruit trees. So right next here we just cut a whole bunch of Tithonia. So that is in here. On the top is just grass clippings to kind of cover that. So you can see like this is all green, fresh Tithonia. You can see down in the middle, I mean this thing is 2 feet deep at this point, and it's compacted. Like push it down with my feet, that's as far down as it's going to go. So it's amazing how fast that'll break down. And, I'd say by the end of the summer that's going to be down to probably 6 inches or so if we don't add anything to it. But this is crucial for us. We have really wet times and really dry times. You may have seen a recent video we posted about 50 inches of rain in February. Well, in March, we've gotten less than 1 inch of rain. So everything is already starting to dry out, and I'm hoping we'll still get plenty of rain before the height of summer comes in, and we've got, hot, tropical sun blazing days over and over and over again, very little rain. It's really harsh out here when it gets like that, and so we really need kind of like security blanket around our trees. Otherwise, we've got to water them constantly to keep them healthy. So again, every year we get more biomass, more material, build these deeper, and with people helping me out now, I can stay on top of it a little bit better. It's been really cool. Just to throw in this little segment on new growth on trees. Here's a jaboticaba. Look at all that shiny red. This thing is going crazy now. It's so cool to see these trees that go slow for a while and then they sort of explode. Alright, we'll end the video in the shade of this ice cream bean that has really done a wonderful job. Grown from seed. This is a cool variety. It's got these nice big fat leaves. Creates a lot of shade, and so that's why I wanted to talk about it today, is that going into our transition from winter, spring, summer, we really want to make sure we let trees make shade, because we're going to need that shade in the summer, and we don't want to get behind, so this is not the time of year to be pruning shade trees. This is the time of year where we really want to be letting them go, because then we can get this nice dappled shade under here, keep the ground cooler, keep the moisture locked in. This is Hoava. It's a native tree that likes understory. This is I'm not going to be able to remember the name. It's a palm tree that also likes understory. And so we want that shade, just protect, and also just to give us a little place to get away from that insane sun in the summer. So thanks again for joining us. We will have more videos coming soon about the agroforestry project that we've been talking about in our past couple videos. Not a whole lot going on down there. We did get the Tithonia in, but nothing too much to look at. But soon we'll be breaking ground and putting all kinds of putting our ideas, into physical reality. So you definitely want to bring you guys along for that. In the meantime, thanks for joining us. Aina Bear Farm. Aloha.